Hello, everyone. All right, my name is Keisha, and I know I've done a couple like podcast interviews. I kind of share some of my experiences slash story. However, I want to jump on here and I want to share a little bit about myself. To get to know me a bit more, whether I dive into my experiences or not. I don't know. We'll see. Um, Yeah, so I'm Keisha, and let's see, I'm a spiritual teacher, spiritual seer, which I'll touch on, and musician, artist, singer, dancer. I love the outdoors. I love swimming. I'm a certified Reiki master, and I love working with people, connecting with people, spiritual mentorship, and all that such. And so, what a blessing. To be able to live in my joy every day and through living in my joy be able to be of service. So I love that. And so it wasn't always that way. As a child, I also feel very blessed in the sense that I'm surrounded with animals, and animals are a big thing for me. You know, I had bunnies, chickens, dogs. We had a farm, some horses, cows, rabbits. Yeah, so we'd actually take the little chicks and take them inside and play in our little like Barbie doll house with the chicks. So that's fun. Um, so yeah, I a stray cat came home with my mom from her work one time, and I tamed it. But it turns out that it only befriended me. So, in other words, I just created a bond with that cat. And so other than that, like there's instances when I was little that when I look back to now, I know that those were like mystical spiritual experiences when, without a baseline being little, I just thought that those, I don't know, were like fun times, you know? Like I have a memory of this stray cat having had kittens, and I'm in the garage and I had all these wood blocks and stuff, and I'm creating a maze watching all these kittens play through it. And then, within this past year, I think I was asking my mom about that, and she says that the cat Libby, which is what I named her, it was a like orange tabby type cat that she never had kittens, and so just kind of like, if you will, I don't know, like timelines and stuff like that. That has come to me from my understanding about that parallel realities, um, and other mystical experiences like being at Disneyland and playing with the water fountain and being able to like maneuver and play with the water um, in ways that I I don't know. How do I explain this? So I used to, when I was at Disneyland, I heard this thing, or leaving there, someone had told me, and it was like this ominous voice, that it was a special fountain, and so it was the one that shot up from the ground, and when it came, I'd like play catch with the water and just keep, kind of like those everlasting bubbles, if you will. And so ever since then, I've always tried that. Anytime I saw a fountain like that, tried it, and it would just come straight through my hands, or do it once, and that's it. And so I was like always wanting to go back to Disneyland to see the special fountain. And then it dawned on me after like truly awakening that just my connection with water and the elements in that sense. So, and that it wasn't the fountain that was special. It was me in that sense. So that was really beautiful. And deepened my connection with water in that sense. And so, other things when I was a child, seeing colors, and I had pet rocks. I gave my pet rock, my favorite pet rock, to my mom's coworker. And when I used to think back before that, I was like, man, I was a weird child. Like I gave rocks to people. But now I'm like, oh my goodness, like I was so connected, with nature, with everything. And so, I time went on, and that kind of fell apart, as I feel it does for most people. And so, then it came back to me, kind of like that, what seems like one day, back in like 2014, which is what I have referred to as my spiritual awakening. Although, kind of that, getting into that chrysalis, that, you know, if you will, what do they call it? Rock bottom. Like I was slowly making my way to rock bottom. And so amidst there, if you will, maybe not there yet. Anyways, but aside from that, so all these experiences and things started happening. I started seeing things and seeing things, seeing energy, seeing spirits, hearing them, hearing people, hearing everything, feeling things, smelling things, even tasting things. Weird. One example of that is I had someone send me food one time, and in the drink, like I could taste alcohol, and so I threw the food away. I didn't ask for it. It was just sent to me at the end of a breakup, kind of like a I'm thinking of you. But now that I look back to that, it was psychically knowing that they were drinking at that moment, and seeing how, yeah, it's just so interesting how the more I grow, the more of an understanding I see, and with a greater perspective. Because at that time, why things seemed the way they were to me, I'm getting goosebumps, is the perspective that I held. So I could only understand things to the level of my perception, my understanding, my consciousness. And so it took a lot of working through fear and, a lot of the things that were showing up to me, almost like I was feeling bullied, very picked on, and like such, I don't like to use the word dark, but such darkness it felt, was because I didn't understand what it was, but it a lot of it was shadows and merging of parallel realities and such. So when in the terms of spiritual seer, I heard someone say that one day, and I was like, oh yes, I connect with that. And then I was like, what is that? And so between oh, what's the word? Like intuition, the spirit realm and parallel realities and such like that. Being able to see and sense and feel things psychically, intuitively, and be, connected and communicate in communication and such in that sense. And so these were a lot of things that just showed up, but I didn't understand that. And so merging of time, I say merging of timelines, that keeps popping out. That's interesting. So like parallel realities, timelines, if you will, whichever way to be understood for you. It, I was being able to feel and sense in that energy of what was co-occurring at another moment, but yet not understanding that. And so um, I think I mentioned, having had mental disorder diagnosis and such. And at these moments is where, the coin delusional thinking and, sometimes grandiose illusions and things tend to pop in. But, um, and so at that time, sometimes I'd just be like, oh man, I'm really in a delusion right now. But the thing is, it's so real and it's hard to explain. So having a greater awareness and understanding of that and really having a grip on reality, Keisha's timeline, Keisha's reality has been really expansive. Actually, it's all been expansive. There isn't even the negatives and the highs and the everything. It's been a journey and it's beautiful. So I'm very grateful for where I am today, and I know and I believe I got here because in my heart, in my core, that inner being, through all the stuff, I never just settled for anything. I never settled for relationships. I never settled for, say a diagnosis. I never, because there was that part of me that always, you know, didn't like just wanted more, like knew it wasn't a full body yes. That's the big thing that is coming to me lately. It's full body yeses, and that's like your higher self, inner guidance, popping in saying yes, full permission to follow that, and so yeah, during that time, I was quite away from my spirit, from what fueled me, from what fills me up, very much putting others before myself. And so, um, I used to think that in 2014 it was just like, whether you say dark night beginning type thing, but at that point, like my third eye was open, all this stuff. Those were words that I didn't really understand. I had heard third eye, but when I Googled it, it said this stuff about, like I'm not gonna mention it in this video. Well, okay. Anyways, like demonic things and this and that, and that the time. Like that's where my headspace was, my perspective, because I was still kind of in the programming, and so I didn't um, like I'd heard third eye, but I didn't know chakras. I didn't know, energy beings, all that. Interestingly enough, this is popping in for me right now. During that time, I had always wanted to like read the Bible. I was baptized, confirmed, and such, and I guess I don't know, maybe that's how elusive I am sometimes, but you know, throughout this process, like I want to read the Bible, I want to read the Bible, I want to read the Bible. I kind of want to get more in touch because I feel like it's such a low place. But in knowing this, I knew there was the light, and so that's what also helped guide me and kept me going forward. Because like I know there is. I just didn't realize that was also inside me at the time. So um, another beautiful thing. And so, um, yeah, and then I had a friend at that time post something on Facebook, and I remember it clearly because the word Genesis pops up all the time for me in terms of like, beginnings and new stories and stuff. So I believe Genesis is like the first story, first chapter thing of the Bible. And it was, this thing about like God like being angry with the people and so like doing these things and stuff like that. And I was reading that and really I read it like so many times and I go, what? Like this is in the Bible? And I go, what? Like it sounds like he's mad at people and like, you know, um all these things, and like I don't this is like how I was at that moment, tapping into that energy right now. I was like, what? God? Like my God? The one I learned about in church, like he's angry at people and um uh, not spiteful, but vindictive or like, that kind I don't know if that's the right word, but you know what I mean? Like that about like the people did something and God got angry, so he did this and this and this and I was just like, what? Like, um, I don't know. I never I've not read the Bible. Because after that I was like, that doesn't connect with the God I know, who I felt I learned about. Um, or I say learned about, but apparently just who I knew, in my core. um, so anyways, I just on that fact got A Course in Miracles, which I for months, probably like the last year, and it's for 47. 47 is my life path angel number thing. Um, um, have been, towards getting, and I got it and opened it up the other day, and I was like, wow, this is like the Bible I've been wanting to read, if you will, book scripture channeled through Jesus, and it just yeah, it's I'm excited for it. So I've read one little blurb of it, but it's amazing. I've heard a lot about it also. So um, yeah, so yeah, as far as these experiences and such, it's just yeah, a lot of psychic stuff. And what's interesting to me is not to like think back to everything, but there's, when you say where I want to go with this. um, yeah, and I've had relationships and such where prophetic dreams. My dreams are very vivid, I travel a lot, and I have a lot of prophetic dreams and messages that come to me. And also, like in my waking state, psychically. And so in my relationships, I was sensing things, and you know, um, when I brought them up, either, I shoved them down type thing, not realizing that's what that was, my understanding of that. But I actually had a relationship where, like, I knew 100% sensing things going on, and I was told I was crazy, like, you're being crazy right now, imagine that, women. But, women's intuition, let me tell you. Um, and so, yeah, that really had me. I didn't realize at the time, but how much I don't know the word I want to say. I'm kind of getting tingles all over though. Kind of doubt myself. Really begin to doubt myself, like, after that, going forward. And so, another thing, that was around the beginning of my addiction, which also took place 2014. So much of this time, I related so many of my experiences to the drug I was using, which was methamphetamine. but I was having experiences, like I say, my experiences would come in cycles, which now I think, like seasons, chapters, cycles, just like the flow of life and stuff. But a lot of my physical things I would feel is like my head being really hot, my back being really hot, and just feeling like, so much heat and stuff around me, and so many other things that I now know more as, like Kundalini energy and um what do I want to say? Like activation upgrade type things, coming into my light body. And at the time, like my head was really stuck on what I could grasp, which was like EMF, and I had, things about government, and I'm looking into all this technology stuff because my technology would always be woo woo and things, and um about all this stuff with, government and this, and then I'd sit there and I'm like, why me? Why me? Who am I? And you know, I'm like, I'm just this girl from Nebraska, like, leave me alone. And like there were some very, very interesting um experiences, uh, like things that I could not like brush off. As far as my experiences, if you will. So there's ones where there was a moment where I was in the restroom, and I'm hearing the voices. I'm gonna start referring to them as energy spirits, if you will. And all of a sudden they say, "Oh look, she's out of toilet paper," and I go, "What?" And I look, and I was out of toilet paper. And just these, sorry, this shaking, like crazy things that and so at that time I was like, okay, I'm not always liking what I'm hearing from these people, but and I'm getting tingles again. Oh, some goosebumps. But they've always been honest, like it's always been the truth. And so I think that was one thing why, because I felt a lot of my shadows, and I was not aware of shadows or any of that at that time, started coming up and were presenting themselves to me, along with this awakening and this energy and everything that I was like, oh yeah, full body. I have goosebumps all over all of this stuff. It's a lot. And what's coming to me now is that these are the kind of things that during the shift in the energies happening right now on Gaia, I feel a lot of other people, I believe a lot of other people are starting to feel and sense and stuff. And what's interesting, when I got through this, I say when I got through this, when I got a download that, is all spiritual and just like, oh, okay, like I can, don't have to whatever anymore. Like it's just like a light bulb went off in my head and my heart, and I just, you know, um, and that started my spiritual study, if you will, which last year, and so it shifted from this survivor mentality to working into thriving, if you will, surviving to thriving, um, and so oh, okay, I'm gonna take a minute. Um, hmm. When I got to this point, during that whole scenario, there was a lot of other, I say spooky things, but when I'd be going to my doctor for my medications and stuff, whether I missed a lot or took them or this or that, I never noticed the difference. Um, and yet I kept getting this like energy or thing in my head, this feeling like, you know, um, placebos, they're giving you placebos and the doctors are lying to you and this and a whole lot of other messages, that at that time I took it for what it was, but I feel like it's just truth coming to light. And I'm getting more goosebumps. And the way in which it, that truth can be scary, sometimes we don't want to face the truth or, see that around us. Oh man, my whole body is like electric right now. And so, like I see a lot of simulations. I used to look up for the schizophrenia things because I always felt like my experiences didn't really connect with that I heard from others. And so I like that would furthermore had me on to this thing that like there, it's not in my head, it's not in my head because like I I went, I'll share, I'll be a little more vulnerable. I really lost my shit quite a few times trying to, like I don't know, capture what I was video or, experiencing and stuff because I felt like a lunatic or I wanted to prove to myself or this or that because no, I just, hmm. Anyhow, so yeah, I'd like leave things a certain way, like draw a line on a paper, pieces of paper together, leave it here, like have everything. And I was so meticulous, so whatever, hyper vigilant, if you will, in that constant, stress mode, whatnot. And even then, like weird shit was happening. Like I'd have like weird pictures show up on my phone and like just a whole lot of like wacky stuff. And so it oh, but those simulations, yeah, like we're sorry about the bouncing. About like what's one I heard? Like the whole whispers and whispers and like feeling like people can hear your thoughts and are talking about you and stuff and all that. Just further into like telepathy and being able to read energy and sense energy and being energetic beings and like and so yeah, so um I was gonna go somewhere else with that about the ones where they like with the well I guess this came to me too about like my hair products and all this stuff and with the simulations where they go into I saw one, it's like a gas station and they're going to grab drinks, they're like don't grab that, don't grab that, that's poison, that's poison, that's poison. I had a lot of that stuff with like my beauty products and stuff, and what I correlate that to now is just the chemicals and such that go into those. Same with some drinks and things like that. um Interestingly enough, as far as like within my addiction, there were always also other things that were very strange. Like I think I already mentioned that I use methamphetamine, and there were moments like it's almost like it stopped working for me. I got to where with nonstop daily use for however long that I there was a period, and I related this to my medicine at that time more than the drugs, but I was sleeping 12 hours a night. I'd wake up, eat whatever, and have 4 hour nap, and that was like my day to day, and I just was like the shell of myself. And in this addiction, while using, I feel like looking back, I feel like it had stuff to do with my DNA because and this might be a little graphic if you need to go past through it, but in the point of using needles and such, my veins did things that um I didn't see anyone else's doing that I did not know to be normal. Um, didn't match anything I've heard, looked up, anything, and I'd end up actually getting these like I don't know if you see it here, but like these spots anytime there would be a little mist, these spots where my flesh would just like burn up and stuff or like get a crater. And like I had a doctor tell me once it was MRSA, but it was not MRSA. And this just happened throughout my body, and it'd be the same. And for reference and baseline, it'd be the same stuff that like I myself would take, do whatever, and then share with others present. So it wasn't just, like, and so I had this big thing in my head about, all this stuff, and now, anyways, I don't, we don't need to go back into that too much, but yeah, just so many interesting things, and and also, I strangely find myself not even in that, but in everything when I used to drink with that, with having a high tolerance and in pain and everything, just super super high tolerance. And I'm starting to get the tingles again all over. And I feel some of that has to do with me being a very very old soul. That's my I say my theory right now. That's my truth right now is that having many many Earth incarnations, I have quite a high tolerance for many many things. And so oh wow. Um, I'm just seeing the time on this video. Wow, what a chat. I'm grateful you're here if you're watching this right now. So this last year, I got this download, and it said, "This is spiritual. Everything's spiritual." And I hadn't even like looked or knew the word, but okay, just like downloads are, just knowing. So then I, did 180 for my life. um, Let go of everything, every person, everything, everyone. Um, and I don't I've never looked back since. It's been so beautiful, such a blessing, such a journey. Oh my goodness. I went from what I used to think like feeling cursed, like, that victim stuff to like my heaven on earth. Um, you know, I used to always want to fill that void, searching to, longing. What is it? The Vermilion Part 2 song by Slipknot. That used to be like one of my main songs, and I used to think of it like the ever elusive, like this love story, ever elusive. And that's because I was always searching in outwards, and that love, that wholeness, that feeling, I found that within. And not that it was ever gone, but just perceived. And so coming back with that in myself. And so yeah, today I sit here and I'm so in love with myself. I'm in love with life. I'm in love with creating my reality and the magic of this world. Like my spirit guides, ancestors and such. Like it's my day to day is not a dull moment. I sense them and feel them everywhere, and they're always communicating with me. And so yeah, it's beautiful. I feel, I don't know. I'm gonna end this here. I was gonna go on and share some more about this last year because this is kind of where woo, everything just like, but that sweat feels good, that exercise feels good, like going up that mountain. So, but yeah, I'll be sharing more about that, and that's that's where I speak from presently. So yeah, uh, hope you guys have a great day. See you all later.